All right, we're gonna make a flat-sided crankbait today. Most of your basic sizes would be about 70 millimeters long and 5/8 of an ounce in terms of weight, but we're gonna go 45 millimeters long to make it a little smaller, and then we're also going to do it at 2/5 of an ounce, which would be basically a direct correlation if you were to do the math the right way. We'll see if I did it the right way, but this is what it'll look like. We're going to cut it out, shape it down. Once I get that part done, I'm actually going to cut it in half because I'd like to put a little bit of rattle in the rear, in the tail here, so that way it can add, with the action, some more noise, and we'll just kind of test it out and see how it goes. So first thing I need to do is shape this down to this size. Use that paper right there. I'm going to take my Dremel, sand it down on the edges, and then we're going to get to cutting. All right, save you time. We're gonna finish that part up, and then I will come back to you once I've got it at the basic shape. All right, we got the basic shape for the most part cut out. This is just under an inch thick, so of width. So I'm gonna have to take some of that off in order for it to get to the action that I'm gonna want to see out of this. The good tight wobble, but the good tail wiggle. So we're gonna take off probably about maybe 1/4 of an inch of this. I'm just gonna basically sand that down, and then we'll work on the shaping after that. So I'll bury you that. So I'm gonna cut that down, and then we'll catch you on the shaping portion after that. We're working on the second process. I'm actually I'm cutting it in half. So I've already removed that first 1/4 inch spot, and I'm cutting it in half now because I'm gonna work on drilling out a cavity for the rattle. The portion in the tail, the rattle, and then we'll work on the hardware from there. I'm not sure if I'll do a through wire or if I will just do some general kind of twist tied, hang ties, but we're gonna get through this portion first, and then we'll get to that. All right, 2 pieces, pretty equal. We're gonna head inside, drill out some cavities, and we're gonna work on it from there. All right, this go around we are gonna do a through wire harness. That way all the hardware will just be glued in. So the first part, we're just gonna start kind of bending things around. You want to try to line it up and create the angles of which that you're gonna use. So we're gonna try to get that front line tie to be at about that angle right there before we head downward. Just about right there. So line everything up just to double check how it will sit in there. as long as it sits in the way we want it to. It'll take a little adjusting, but you can kind of see where we'll land. So work with that, get it set, and then we'll be back. So when I am working on through wires, some people I've noticed you can just kind of cut and carve. You know, I cut this bait in half, and then I actually try to clamp down the through wire to each side. You know, I do it together first just to kind of get it in kind of a small general mold almost in the wood. So this is poplar, it's pretty forgiving. Any hardwood, this would not be probably something you can even do. But you'll see this small little indentation right here. And what that does is it just allows me to kind of figure out exactly where this is going to land and sit. And then what I'll do is I'll clamp it in one of these hand vise or hand clamps and just really tighten it in there. So when I let go and pop it off, you'll see both sides pretty much molded pretty darn strongly. And it'll match directly to where I want it once it's done. So this is pretty much set. This through wire is good. It's just going to sit, like I said, it's going to sit right here. Once I get it popped in the position, it will pretty much stay right where I want it to be. And then I'll add the other half to it, and you'll be able to feel those grooves and know that it's locked in the place that you want it to once you get it in. And that's exactly where we're at with that. So my next step is I'm going to start to kind of carve out the holes for the weight, which you'll see there. I've kind of very generally done with pencil. I'm going to put some lead down here, and then we're going to cut a little cavity out here just to put some very small split shots in order to get a rattle effect in the tail. So that's the next step. We're going to knock that out with a Dremel here and a wood carving bit, and we'll see how it goes from there. All right, cavities are in. So first thing I'm going to show you, so angler accessories, these are number 8 sized 0.07 gram. These are small split shots that you would use for fly fishing. And I was just recently out into an area that primarily most people fly fish, so I was able to sneak by a fly shop because there's not many of those here where I live, and picked up a bunch of these. So they are going to work absolutely great if I can just keep them in my hands. So start with 2 back there. Again, these aren't going to do much for weight, but they're going to add a good rattle back there. So that's the key with those. And then that cavity in the rear, just to kind of help weight transfer of these small pieces. As this bait will kick, it'll have a good noise to it along with the hooks. So that's that. What I'm going to do is clean this up a little bit, and then we're going to glue this back together with the through wire, and then from there we're going to start to kind of finish the actual shaping of this bait, and we're moving along pretty darn good. So I will start on that process. We'll see you at the shaping portion. Okay, not perfect, but in terms of both sides, I'll be able to squeeze that in there. As long as it stays when I do that, that's a good starting point. So I'm gonna add in some pieces for weight. These are just steel or nickel BBs. That's gonna help add some weight to the front. I'm going to finish that area off with baking soda and super glue. as well as add the 2 weights in the back for the other portion. All we need it to do is adhere to itself for now, and then we can come in and clean things up. So, most importantly, creating a bond. I'm going to finish and go all the way around, fill it up, shut it down, and then we're going to come back as I start to work with chamfering the edges and sanding. So, coming around. I know that that wasn't the most effective way, that's for sure, so there are other ways to join things back together. I just so happen to have this stuff lying around, so I use super glue and baking soda. Probably could have used a 2-part epoxy or something a little bit smoother and stronger, but this will work. The issue that I did run into, and this sometimes will happen, is that cavity I had with the rattles, it did seal itself a little bit, and the rattles, I believe, got stuck. But I have noticed sometimes is after you throw this around for a few, maybe cast, if not a few times out fishing, sometimes those rattles will unstick themselves. So once everything's set and dry, we might get those back. As you notice, you can't hear it, but I am going to basically reshape everything down. You know, I've got everything the way I want it, but the most important thing now is just to get that shape. And so we're going to sand this thing down a little bit, curve the edges to give it a really good flat-sided square bill shape. So that's the next real important step. And then we're going to actually reseal everything with a good KBS clear coat before I even paint today. All right, got the basic shape down officially. Finished sanding this off, and then we're gonna get to clear coating it. And by the next time, so I'll show you the shape once I finish it and finish it up, clean it up, and then once we get to painting, that's where we'll be. So let's finish this thing up and we're gonna get moving. All right, we're back. After finishing the clear coat, I've already installed the lip to where I want it to be. So that's the first clear coat. Usually, I don't personally do this simply because I like to get these baits done personally, and I just like to go fish with them quick. But what happens when you do clear coat, your first draft, you could say, is it's just going to give you a nice clean paint job. It's going to look a lot sharper than some of the jagged wood edges. You know, I did this tiny little wake bait right here, and you can tell that it's just kind of got a lot of texture to it that doesn't just look, it just doesn't look as crisp. So that's what we're doing with this one. We're going to make it look as pretty as I possibly can for the time being. So I got it coated up and taped off, and we're going to just go with the base coat. We're going to just knock this out as a small bluegill pattern, since that's basically the main forage of this area that I live in Nebraska, here in Omaha. So basically it's bluegill, crappie, green sunfish, and shad, but we're going to go with the bluegill. So I'm going to get to that, start with a white base coat, and then we're going to get to moving that along. So we're going to speed through this for you and take this to the lake once I coat it one last time after the paint job and try to catch a couple fish on it. All right. Last thing we need to do for this is glue on these eyes, clear coat it, and go fishing. So pretty thrilled with how this one's come out. Thanks for joining me so far. Please hit that like button and subscribe if you learned something. And we're gonna get to that next step. We're gonna put those eyes in and get moving. All right, got one down. I'll get the other one off camera because my camera's gonna die. Clear coat it and show you the final product before we head to the water. We are at a local lake and we're gonna test out that lure. I just got here. We had a big rainstorm this morning, so I'm actually gonna throw, the water's a little murked up, so I'm gonna throw a little late morning top water, see if we can get any action on that before I throw that flat-sided crankbait. So we'll see if I can get any action on the top water. If not, we're going flat-sided crankbait and we'll see how it works. For some odd reason, my GoPro didn't charge last night, so we're gonna do everything with the big camera today. I might have like 10 seconds worth of film so I can hopefully show you some action. But we're gonna give this thing a go for a little bit and hopefully we can get into something. Well, I got the 2 spots so far. It's super windy. The rain came through this morning and mucked everything up. And we got ourselves a whole lot of wind coming from that front all afternoon. So I think I'm gonna wait until this evening to try to get back out one more time. Hopefully I will charge that GoPro. I will charge that GoPro so you guys can see the action a little bit better. It works pretty well. It's a good bait. Pretty pumped about it. I just need to get a fish on it. So I will not stop this video until I get one. All right, I will not stop until I get a fish on that bait. So we were moving to the next spot after I charge my cameras. Hey, it's evening. Wind has calmed down a little bit. We're gonna give it a shot. Try to get that bass or muskie or walleye, crappie, whatever might hit this lure. We're gonna try to get that tonight at this lake that's not too far from where I live. I'm also gonna just throw out some corn, try to catch a carp or two. We'll see kind of what happens, but this lake's got a little bit of everything in it, so hopefully we can get it done tonight. Otherwise, I don't want to keep this video going on forever, but we might have to, so let's give it a shot. All right, it's time to go after something. Let's get ourselves a fish on this wake. Oh, this flat-sided crankbait. Now that we've got my GoPro charged up, you can kind of see the action. It's got a great tight wobble. Pretty excited about it. Sometimes it'll get caught on that split ring up there, but it's good. It's good stuff. Oh shit. And just like that, first cast, you break the lip. Well, that's how it goes sometimes. Shit. Oh, another one of these just vipers. What the heck? Vipers on corn, that's new to me. Man, it's crazy. There we go. Well, that one's a little healthier than the last one. Well, I guess that's how it goes. So I think there's three things that definitely suck as being a bait maker. And that's the moment you don't catch any fish on your lures. The second maybe would be when you break them. And the third is when you lose them. Well, luckily I didn't lose it tonight, but first cast, I definitely sent this thing into the rocks on land, so it landed pretty smack dab on the lip. So it still ran kind of like a jerk bait, but no fish on it. So failure for the day. I mean, I tried 3 different spots 3 different times throughout the day, not a whole lot of anything today. So I guess what I'll do is I'll take this into a new video and show you how you can replace your lip. It's probably been shown and done, and it's not that difficult, but we're going to use this as an example. So we'll take this one here in a day or two. We'll shave it down, clean it out, install a new one. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. Hope you had a little fun. I did, even though I didn't catch jack today. But that's how fishing is. That's how fishing goes, and that's why we keep coming back. So thanks again. We'll see you on the next video.